Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning.
Oh, I remember everything we learned yesterday.
Amazing. I'm not able to share this PPT. It's very like a huge file.
Ma'am, there is no host.
Yeah, I've texted her to make me the host. Oh, she has not replied. Okay, anyway, today we will study the parts of the brain and the spinal cord. Okay. Mm, So it's easy only. We can finish it today.
Oh,
Why is
okay,
she
ma'am.
not replying? Mm, Okay. So anyway, we will just start with the class. Let her make me the host. I'll give you a summary of what we'll be doing today. Okay. So when it comes to the brain structure, okay, there are like a lot of different ways that you can view the brain. Okay.
View.
I don't when you have like when you go for a CT or any imaging techniques, okay. So they will be able to take the image of the brain in different views. Okay. So we will see all these types of views that are there. Okay. And we'll also see the different parts. Now, again, I am telling you, whatever we are going to study today is it's just like a small introduction to the entire huge human brain. That's not the ultimate thing. Okay, there are a lot of intricate details about the brain, but we will not be discussing everything in detail. Okay, whatever is essential for you at this point of time, we'll be discussing that. Fine?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So, she made me the host. Now I will just share it. So we already studied. So brain is basically protected, and what spinal cord also is protected by a bony structure.
Yes.
Brain is protected by cranium, and spinal cord is protected by vertebrae.
Vertebral column.
Yes, but apart from this, there is also a tissue layer which protects both of them, and that is called as meninges.
Tissue layer
Okay,
that protects brain and
both brain as well as the spinal cord. It's called as meninges.
meninges.
Yes, meninges. Okay. So the bony protection, apart from that, you also have, it says like, when you order a phone or something,
Hmm.
you will have a bubble wrap and then you will have a cardboard cover and all, right.
Hmm.
Same way, your brain and spinal cord, they're very sensitive. So therefore, they have huge layers of protection. Okay. So first we will see what are the layers of these meninges. Or before that, we'll see the view of the brain and the spinal cord. And then we'll move on to the different parts of the brain. Okay.
Hmm.
This is what we are going to study today. Um, where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Let's okay. So basically, yesterday we saw peripheral nervous system. What does it consist? Its classification and everything, right? So today we'll start with brain and spinal cord. Okay. Now, before going into this, we need to know something called as gray matter and white matter. You must have heard it, right?
Hmm.
Yeah. So what is this gray matter, white matter is? Yesterday we learned about neuron. Remember?
Hmm.
We learned about myelin sheath and neuron.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. This myelin sheath is basically a little, what do you say, white in color. So when we see it under any imaging techniques, it will look little white color, the
Hmm.
myelin sheath area. Okay. But other than the myelin sheath, that is your dendrites and the cell body and all, when you look under a microscope or something, they look gray in color.
What?
Your myelin sheath, okay,
Hmm.
it's basically white in color.
Hmm.
Okay. So wherever the axon is present, Okay,
Mhm.
all the axons will be present together. Okay, so wherever it is present, it will look like a whitish area.
Huh.
But wherever the axon is not present and it's only the cell body that is present, that area will look little grayish when compared to the whitish area.
Hmm.
So that is what you call it as gray matter and white matter.
So when axon is present, white matter, axon is not there.
The area where all the, so basically how it will be in your brain is that on the outer side you will have the nerve, or the cyton and the dendrites, and
Hmm.
towards the inner side all the axons will be there. So when you take the cross section of the brain, the inner area will look like white and the outer area will look gray, and so we call the inner area as white matter and the outer area as gray matter.
White is basically axon dendrite, gray is
Yes.
cyton and
Not axon dendrite, only axon and myelin
axon,
sheath.
and gray is cyton and dendrite.
Yes, exactly. Okay. So yes, I already told you about brain and spinal cord. So brain is protected by cranium,
Spinal
spinal
cord is
cord is
protected by
protected.
vertebral column.
Yes. Okay. Now, I told you that there is another layer of tissue that covers this particular both brain and spinal cord. It's called meninges.
Hmm.
And meninges is not a single layer. This one, it is a triple layer. And in between the layers also, there is something called as a fluid and all. Okay. So I don't know if you are into watching all these, what do you call, all the doctor and all the doctor related dramas, or series. You would have seen this term commonly coming up. Okay, there's something called as the fluid, in the dura mater. They say, hemorrhage in the dura mater.
Yeah, I've heard dura matter.
Yeah. So basically, what happens is that in this tissue, no, this meninges tissue is made up of several layers. Okay, and there is a space between one of the layer, and that is called as the dura space or the subdural space.
Hmm.
Okay, so that subdural space, what will happen when someone is bleeding or like got an accident or something, there are high chances that they bleed into the subdural space.
Oh, internal bleeding.
Yeah, internal bleeding. So these are all like common terms you can hear if you are into all these things. Okay, anyway, those things are part of your meninges. So your meninges basically has three layers. I would recommend you to remember it as pad. Okay, pad is basically nothing but pia
Pia
matter,
matter, arachnoid
arachnoid,
matter, dura matter.
and dura matter. So from
Pia is
inside
inner,
to outside.
arachnoid is middle, dura is outer.
Yes, exactly. So that is your pad. These are the layers of your meninges.
Hmm.
Okay, and apart from that, you have in between different spaces, which is not very important. So we're not going into it now.
Hmm.
Okay, so till now we just learned that spinal cord and brain is covered by another layer of tissue called as
Pad, this thing, meningeous tissues. Meninges.
meninges. Yes. How many layers
It
of
has three
meninges
layers.
are there?
PAD, pia matter inner layer,
Hmm.
arachnoid matter middle layer,
Hmm.
dura matter outer.
Okay, very good. Now coming to the concept of this brain views. I told you in the beginning, right? So whatever you see, like you would have seen these kind of brain structure normally. This is called as a lateral view. That is, you're seeing the brain from the side.
Hmm.
Okay, so if you're seeing it from one side, it's called lateral view. If you're seeing it from the top, it's called as the superior view. This is the superior view.
Seeing from side, it's lateral. Seeing from
Ah,
top, it's superior.
yes. And if you're seeing it from bottom, it's inferior.
And what is sagittal?
Sagittal is cross section.
Okay.
That is when,
From side.
when you laterally cut open the
Hmm.
brain,
If you,
what
yeah,
you
that's
can
what.
see inside.
If you're seeing
Yes,
from top, if it is superior, side it's
yes,
lateral, down
yes,
it's inferior, and
yes,
cross section is sagittal.
yes. So from one view, you can actually see different parts. So if you see the superior view, okay, you will not be able to see the hind brain.
Hmm.
But from the inferior view, you will be able to see the hind brain.
Hmm.
And you will not be able to see the other parts of your forebrain other than cerebrum if you are not viewing the sagittal view.
Hmm.
Okay, so see here. Laterally, if you see, can you see anything that is inside?
Uh-huh.
So you can only thing that you can see is your cerebellum, pons. Okay, so I'll
Medulla.
tell you. Yeah. So this will be your cerebrum. This will be the cerebellum. This will be the pons and the medulla and the brainstem. These are the
Hypothalamus.
only things you can see when you're seeing it from laterally.
Hmm.
Okay. Now, when you're seeing from top, you can only see two cerebral hemispheres. Okay. And when you're seeing from the sagittal view is when you can actually see all the parts.
Yeah, inner cross section of all the parts.
Exactly. Yes. So this is why we require different views of the brain. Okay. So in your textbook, the image that they've given is actually the sagittal view.
Sagittal view.
Okay. Yeah. So I'll give you a general outlook about the entire brain. So your brain can be divided into three parts. One is called as a forebrain, another is called as midbrain, and another is called as hindbrain. Okay. Now, wherever brain is there, the root word for brain is encephalon.
Root word for brain is
Encephalon. So next time if someone says encephalitis, you should know that is something to do with the brain. Okay. So the scientific or technical name for forebrain, hindbrain, midbrain also will end with encephalon. So your forebrain is called as proencephalon.
Forebrain is called
Prosencephalon.
Prosencephalon.
Prosencephalon. Yes, there's a S there.
Okay.
Then mid one is the midbrain. So generally for mid, what is a term that we use?
Mid. I don't know.
Meso.
Oh, like that you're telling. Ecto,
Yes.
endo, meso.
Meso, yes. So the one that is there in the middle is mesoencephalon. And the one that is there at the back is rhombencephalon.
Wait, my brain root word is encephalon.
The root word for brain is encephalon. The forebrain part is called as prosencephalon. Always the term pro is used whenever we are using first or front, no? So prosencephalon is forebrain. Mesencephalon is midbrain. And
hindbrain is
rhombencephalon. Just remember, romba pinnadi irukku, so it is rhombencephalon. Okay. Why I'm saying is that sometimes they can ask you the question as prosencephalon and mesoencephalon. That time you should not think these are new terms.
Proencephalon, mesoencephalon, rhomboencephalon.
Yes, correct. Yes. Till here is clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now your hindbrain is that is your rhombencephalon. Okay. That is what is going to consist of cerebellum, pons, and medulla. What are the three things that are there in your hindbrain?
Cerebellum, pons, medulla.
Yes. Then in your forebrain, what is there is the cerebrum. Okay, cerebrum is there. Then you have something called as diencephalon.
Diencephalon.
Yes, diencephalon. So what comes
under?
But you have to learn. There's no other go. Okay. What comes under diencephalon is your what is it called? Hypothalamus and everything. Okay. Okay, I'll do one thing. 1 second. Just give me a second. Yeah. So I had actually written one assignment for my work. Okay. So that will have like all the explanation of the brain like in clear. So in case if you are like not able to refer from anywhere, that will definitely have everything in it. Okay. Oh yes, got it. So it will have all the classifications also. So it'll be easier for you to remember it. Just give me a second. I'll just send the photo of it. Got it. Okay. Okay. I'll just forward it on WhatsApp to you.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So now just open the first image. Okay. So this will have a detailed explanation of everything. Can you see the forebrain classification?
One second, ma'am. Opening
Yeah.
it. Forebrain.
Yes. Can you see that?
Yes, ma'am.
So basically, your forebrain is going to consist of three parts. One is cerebrum, another is diencephalon, and another is called as olfactory lobes.
Hmm.
Okay, so cerebrum is the biggest part of your brain. 80% of your brain is cerebrum, the one that normally we see right on the outer. That is called as cerebrum. Okay, so your diencephalon is something that you can see when you take the sagittal view.
Hmm.
Okay, it consists of thalamus, epithalamus, hypothalamus, and subthalamus.
Ma'am, wait. Forebrain consists of
Cerebrum,
cerebrum, diencephalon,
diencephalon, olfactory lobes.
olfactory lobe.
Okay. So when you talk about this diencephalon is basically thalamus, epithalamus, hypothalamus, and subthalamus. Okay.
Thalamus,
But
epithalamus, hypothalamus, subthalamus.
yes, you don't need to know everything. Just remember that hypothalamus comes under diencephalon.
Hmm.
Okay. Now, olfactory lobes are lobe-like structure which are responsible for your olfactory receptors. That is your smell.
Hmm.
Okay. So these are the parts of your forebrain. Now the remaining you can refer through this. Now I'll just share my screen. This is going to be a reference note for you. Okay. So in case like if you are forgetting something that I told today, you can refer few points from it.
Hmm.
Okay. I'll just find there's one big question itself. I'll just find the correct papers and send you the photos. These were the ones I could find right now. Okay. Anyway, coming back. So this was a classification that I told you. So brain consists of majorly three parts. What are the three parts?
Hmm.
What are the three parts of the brain?
My brain. Sorry. Forebrain, midbrain, hindbrain.
Okay. And what are the parts of the forebrain?
Cerebrum,
Diencephalon
diencephalon, olfactory
and
lobe.
olfactory lobes.
Olfactory.
Under diencephalon, you will have what and what?
Thalamus, epithalamus, hypothalamus,
Hypothalamus
subthalamus.
and all. Very good. Okay. So in this, they wouldn't have given you those details. That's why I gave you the details there. Okay. So have you seen walnut?
Walnut, yes.
Yeah. So
Same.
basically,
Brain.
our brain's structure is compared to a walnut.
Yeah, because similar shape.
Yes, similar shape. So basically, our entire brain, okay, you can consider it like a ball, a semi ball. Okay. And if you cut a ball into two, you will get two pieces of two hemisphere kind of a thing, right?
Hmm.
Huh. So our brain also actually is two hemispheres joined together.
Oh yeah, left and right.
Yes, exactly. So the part that is joining these two together is called as corpus callosum.
Corpus.
Callosum. It's very important for you. This term is important. Okay. See here. Can you see this portion here?
Which ma'am? Oh wait, I'm looking at your notes.
No. Go to the
Ah.
screen.
Hmm.
Can you see that red color portion I drew? That that
Ah, that
region.
circle. Ah.
That region is actually nothing but corpus callosum.
Oh, joins the both central hemispheres.
Yes. What is it? It's actually a set of fibers.
Corpus callosum.
Callosum. Okay. Please remember, it's an important name. So what joins the two or what connects the two cerebral hemispheres?
Corpus callosum.
Corpus callosum. Is this clear till now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now your cerebrum is fully of like it has folds. Okay. So when I say folds, it's not a plain surface because our brain requires a huge surface area. The brain has folds.
Hmm.
So can you see the folds here?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So when the fold, if you see, it's like a depression and then there is something going up. So it looks like this.
Hmm.
Okay. So these have names. Okay.
Hmm.
The part that goes down is called as sulcus.
Hmm.
This part here that goes down is sulcus. So how can you
Hmm.
remember it is when you sulk, your face
Sulk.
always goes down, right?
Yeah.
Yes. So same way here, the fold that goes down, the depression part is called as sulcus. The part that comes up is called as gyrus.
The part that comes down is called?
The part that comes down is sulcus. The part that is on the top, this portion here is called as gyrus.
Hmm.
Is this clear? So the plural is sulci and gyri.
Hmm.
Okay, so your brain is not a plain surface. It has folds, multiple folds, and the folds are called as sulcus and gyrus.
Hmm.
So till now, what we just studied is we learned that our brain has two hemispheres. They are called as cerebral hemispheres.
They're connected by cerebrum callosum,
Corpus callosum.
corpus callosum,
Yes. And the surface,
and
that is the
then
cortex of your brain, is not plain. This surface here, no, this particular region, it's called the cortex of the brain. Okay. This tissue, this cortex tissue is not plain. It has folds, and the folds are called as,
hello.
what is it called?
Ma'am, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Ma'am, your voice is breaking. Now I can hear you.
Okay. I'll repeat my question. I
Yes, ma'am.
asked that this region here, you can see, right? This portion. This is called as a cortex of your brain.
Yes, ma'am. Cortex. And then the part that connects both is corpus callosum.
Yes. So the cortex of the brain is not a plain surface. It has multiple folds. What are the folds called as?
Ma'am, down is sulcus, and then the above is starts with G.
Gyrus.
Yeah, gyrus.
What is the plural form of it?
Sulci gyrus.
Very good. Okay. So till now we are good to go, right? Hello.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Fine. Now we will come to yes. So the like we'll go by one, like with the slide itself, so that will be easier for me to explain with the image.
Hmm.
Okay, so now we come to this region here. Okay, so here this portion, can you see this round color structure? It's called the thalamus.
Hmm.
Okay, now this thalamus, below that, this region here is called as the hypothalamus.
Hmm.
Why it is called hypothalamus? Because it is present below the thalamus.
Hmm.
Okay, and it is also a part of your forebrain.
Hmm.
So this region, cerebrum, and then we learnt about corpus callosum. Then we learnt about thalamus and hypothalamus.
Hmm.
The region above thalamus would be epithalamus.
Region above thalamus is epithalamus.
Yes, but as
Below
far as
is
your portion is concerned, they have spoken only about thalamus and hypothalamus.
Hmm.
Is this clear till now?
Hmm.
Okay. Now, the next thing. Let's go to the forebrain parts. Yes, I have already explained you the forebrain parts. Now let us see the function of it.
Too many names today.
Yes, but you have to learn. There's no other go. Okay. Yes, this is what I told you in the beginning. It's divided into left and right hemisphere, and they are connected together by a tissue called as corpus callosum.
Callosum. Hmm.
Yes, corpus callosum. Okay. Now, okay. Then when you talk about the brain, as I said, they have different folds. Okay. And the folds are called as sulcus and gyrus, which we have already covered. Okay. Now we come to this gray matter and white matter that I told you in the beginning. So if I take the cross section of the brain, okay, you can see that here in this region, it is all white. Can you see? Hello, Akshay. Akshay?
Ma'am, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Oh.
Till where did you hear me?
Ma'am, I heard full. The gray matter, white matter, I'm listening.
Okay, fine. So this white area will be your white matter, and this outer area here where there is no whitish area, that is your gray matter. So tell me, why is it white? Why is it gray?
Ma'am, in gray color, only cyton and dendrites are present.
Okay.
In white color, only axon is present.
Okay. So that means, logically speaking,
Like logically
brain
speaking, the
has,
neuron is goes from outwards to inwards. Outer part of the brain basically has the cell body,
uh,
cyton and dendrites.
uh,
Inner part has only the end, like the axon and the this thing.
excellent, very good. But remember, it is the reverse in the spinal cord.
In spinal cord, outer will be white, inner will be gray.
Yes, that's it.
Hmm.
Okay. Yes. So this is already something I have spoken to you about. Now, your cerebrum, when let's talk a little bit about cerebrum. Okay. So the cerebrum has like different lobes. Okay. It's called as each lobe is allocated from one area. Okay. Because our brain performs so many functions together. So it's very important that it allocates each area so that the nerve, say for example, the vision part, okay, the eyes is carrying the optic nerves to the brain, right? Now it should know a location where it can take and process the information.
What,
So
what, what?
there is, yeah, there is an area where it helps in the vision. Okay. There is an area which helps you in seeing. There's an area which helps you in walking. There's an area which helps you in taking decisions. Okay. So basically, if you talk about cerebrum has three different areas. One is to perform sensory activities like taste, smell, all the sensory organs. Another is motor area. So motor area is where the decisions will be taken. Okay. And the next is association area, which is basically coordination between different areas. Okay. So we'll see one by one everything together. So first is sensory area. As I said, as the name also suggests, sensory means what? All the sense organ
All sensory
information.
organs.
Exactly. So that will come to the sensory area of your cerebrum. Okay. Then the next one is motor area. So motor area is
So
nothing but,
cerebrum only has so many areas.
yes, cerebrum. Cerebrum is 80% of your brain is cerebrum.
Wow.
The largest part of your brain is cerebrum. Second largest part of your brain is cerebellum.
Cerebellum. Third
Yes.
is
Third is nothing. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
cerebrum
But
is part of forebrain.
yes, cerebrum is part of forebrain. Okay. So the
Cerebellum
first,
is midbrain.
yes, no hindbrain.
Hindbrain.
Midbrain is just a connection between forebrain and hindbrain.
Yes, ma'am. With all these
Okay.
brains also, I'm not able to study.
What happened?
With all these brains also, studying is so hard.
Yes, that's your mindset. Okay. Anyway, so make sure you're learning these functions that are given here. Yesterday I told you, remember which area and what function they'll definitely ask. Okay. So please make sure you're remembering which is what. So your cerebrum can perform all the sensory activities.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And then it can
Cerebellum is body balance and coordination.
yes, and also involuntary movements. But voluntary movements are taken up by cerebrum. Like if you want to move right and your body is moving right, that is because of your cerebrum. And that comes under motor area.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And association area is basically, as I said, it's going to receive inputs from different places. Okay. And it's going to help in the integration process between everything. Okay. So this is your cerebrum as such. Now, when you talk about cerebrum, cerebrum also has something called as a limbic system.
Limbic system.
Yes. Probably if you remove your limbic system, you will not have any emotions. You will be typically a robot and you will not have any sort of memory also. Now I'll give you the reason for this. Your limbic system comprises of hippocampus and amygdala.
Oh, I know this.
Yes. So this round portion, this blue color round region is your hippocampus, and that yellow color spot is your amygdala.
Oh, this
Can you
hippocampus is
believe?
in temporal lobe, no. It is for memory.
Yes, it is for your memory, correct.
It is in
And your
temporal lobe, no.
it's not in the temporal lobe. It's in actually in the middle region of your brain. I can't tell it as a temporal lobe. Because lobes are classified externally. Like
Hippocampus is
magnet
for learning and amygdala is for memory.
no. Hippocampus is for memory. Amygdala is for emotions.
Oh.
That tiny structure is what makes you angry, what makes you sad, what makes you love, what makes you do every single emotion in your body is at amygdala. Okay. So the next time if you are very emotional or something, you can just blame it on your amygdala. It's not your fault. Yeah.
God, what
Yeah.
a plan.
Yeah. Actually speaking, okay. Every individual has the
Any
same
problem,
amygdala, but it just works differently for different people. That's it.
I'll be like, it's not my fault. Blame my amygdala.
Yes, most of the things that you do are not your fault. Say, for example,
That's what.
there are some people who like who will be very concerned for you, okay, but they will not tell you in a very soft tone, hey, please Akshay, don't do like this. Instead, what they will do is they will shout at you.
Yeah,
But that is,
what are you doing?
yeah, that is out of concern though. Okay, their way of expressing the emotion is like that. But there are some people whose way of expressing emotion is normal. That is, you can understand. So
Yeah.
it all varies from person to person. This also psychology also comes into a huge play here in that case. Okay, so that's a whole different ball game. But at the end of the day, whatever you are is because of your hormones and because of
Ma'am,
your
is
brain.
there a hole in the eyelid called lacrimal punctum?
We have something called as a lacrimal gland,
Mm.
which helps in basically it
Oh,
generates tear.
supposedly there is a hole in your eyelid,
Hole in my eyelid.
small microscopic hole called lacrimal punctum. It will drain
Lacrimal.
your tears through your nose, and it's the reason you get runny nose when you're crying.
That's what that is the part of the lacrimal gland.
Yeah, it'll make you. It'll. The tears will come from your nose. It seems.
Tears will come from the nose. Okay, I'm not very aware of the function of it, but I know that it is a part of the tear gland.
Mm.
So I can't give you assurance about it. Okay. Anyway, so coming back to this, so your
There was a meme.
hippocampus.
Sorry, in that meme it said someone sent that meme.
Okay. Yeah.
That meme
Now,
it's lacrimal punctum.
hippocampus and amygdala together will form your limbic system
Limbic.
or the limbic lobe,
Mm.
and it is part of your cerebrum.
Mm.
Okay. Now, these are all things that we discussed till now. That is your hypothalamus, thalamus, limbic system. All these things are not part of the cortex, but it is a part of the inner cerebrum. That is, you can't
They're
see it
not
from the
part of
outside.
cortex, but part of inner cerebrum.
Yes. When you look at the cortex of your cerebrum, you can only see the folds. That is your sulcus and gyrus. But you have to go inside of the brain, that is, take a sagittal view to see your limbic system as well as the other parts, corpus callosum and everything. Is this clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so this is a part of the cerebrum. Now, when we come to limbic system, as I told you, the functions of limbic system, all sorts of emotional reaction, your motivation, everything is limbic system. Okay, why I'm repeating this time and again? Question was asked, so please don't forget it.
Mm.
Okay, so this is all about your cerebrum. Okay, now we will come to thalamus. So thalamus is basically a structure wherein it is going to coordinate between the motor and the sensory nerves. Okay, it's just like a receiving center. So there is nothing much that you need to know. But hypothalamus is called as a master of master gland. What is it called?
Master of master gland.
Yes. So basically, your hypothalamus is connected to your pituitary gland.
Hmm.
Okay. Now, the pituitary gland will secrete all sorts of hormones, and that hormone is going to stimulate all the other glands in your body. Okay. So, like say, for example, your thyroid gland has to work. Okay. It has to get the order from the pituitary gland. So pituitary
Thyroid gland
gland,
has to work, so therefore it gets order from pituitary gland.
yes. I'm putting it in a very layman terms. Next chapter, we learn it in detail though. But for now, understand that pituitary gland is like your, what to say, principal.
Oh yeah, I know it secretes many hormones. It's called the head of. It's the best. like principal master hormone.
Exactly.
Master
It is the
gland.
master gland. Okay. But for your pituitary to work
You
also,
need the hypothalamus.
exactly, you need hypothalamus. Now, actually, you have learned this also. In 12th standard, you learned about fetal ejection reflex, remember?
Oh yeah, estrogen,
Estrogen.
parturition.
Parturition. What happens actually in that reflex action?
Ma'am, basically,
Mm,
when the baby, like when the baby is about to this thing.
it's a fetus, not a baby.
Yes, ma'am.
You call it a
Fetus
baby
about
only
to
once it's
thing.
born.
There will be contractions because of hormones secreted by pituitary gland.
Huh.
So basically, what will happen is, see, ma'am, first parturition that time happens. So that time, the mild uterine contraction will be generated by placenta.
Placenta? Are you sure it's placenta?
It will be started by pituitary gland, ma'am. Because of
No.
the stimulus, placenta will be the stimulus. And then the reflex will be the pituitary gland
Are
secreting
you
hormone.
sure the placenta is the stimulus?
Yes, ma'am. When parturition happens, it gives signal to the brain, and my brain release
Ah.
oxytocin. Therefore, that contraction will become little bit. Then it will become more and more vigorous because more and more contraction, more and more oxytocin is secreted. So more and more vigorous, and finally, baby is delivered.
Okay, okay. Now again, this is a very
The
important,
stimulus is due to the mild uterine contraction by placenta only, ma'am.
not placenta, it's the fully developed fetus.
Yeah.
Why I'm correcting you right now is, like past 3 to 4 years, this question was asked. Okay, the fetal ejection reflex starts by a fully developed fetus. That should be our answer, because in the options even placenta is given, but placenta is not the answer. Okay. So ideally what happens is, by the 40th week, that is the end of the trimester, the baby would have turned upside down. Okay. Now what will happen once the baby is turned upside down? The head of the baby will be near the, or the head of the fetus, sorry, will be near the cervix. Okay. So your placenta will release a hormone called as relaxin, which you would have learned. Relaxin. Yes. So that relaxin hormone will make sure that the ligaments are made loose. The pelvic ligaments are made loose. Okay. Now what will happen is, as the baby's or the fetus's head is trying to push the cervix, okay, that will send stimulus to your hypothalamus. Okay. Are you following till now?
Yes, ma'am. The stimulus will what, ma'am? Wait 1 second. Repeat that. The framing.
The fully developed fetus, okay, by the end of your 36th to 40th week, it will turn upside down. Okay.
36 to 48 week. Yeah, the head will come first, but sometimes head doesn't mean they do cesarean, no.
Yes, yeah. So when the head is turning upside down, what that fetus is actually doing is, it's pushing the cervix with the head.
Head, yeah.
Yes. So now the cervix has some sensory receptors. Okay. What will happen is, the cervix will start stretching. No. Because of that stretching of the cervix, okay, this signal will be sent to the hypothalamus. Hypothalamus is going to instruct the pituitary gland, which pituitary? Posterior pituitary, to release oxytocin. Then that oxytocin will come and attack the myometrium. And then myometrium will start contracting, and that is when the baby the fetus is pushed out. Okay, so the fetal ejection reflex is actually started by a fully developed fetus. Now, why did I take this example? I took this example to show you the relationship between hypothalamus and posterior pituitary. Okay, so your pituitary gland has like different parts, which we'll be learning in the next chapter in detail. Okay, so for now, you need to understand that your pituitary gland is the master gland. But even for that master gland to start and work properly, you need another gland, which is the hypothalamus. Is this clear till now? Okay. Now, when you talk about hypothalamus, other than this particular work, what else your hypothalamus will do? It will control your urge of eating, temperature. It will help you in drinking, and all this thirst, hunger, temperature. All these things are controlled by hypothalamus. Okay. Function is very important. Time and again, I'm repeating. What is the major function of hypothalamus?
Pituitary gland.
Control pituitary gland. Apart from that,
This thing, relaxin hormone, uterine pregnancy, during pregnancy time.
Very good. Okay. Now let us just see the connection between hypothalamus and the pituitary gland. Okay. So this is the diagram. This is how it looks. On top, this region is your hypothalamus. Okay. Now, what happens is that this is your pituitary gland. This entire region here is your pituitary gland. Can you see?
What, ma'am?
This entire region here is your pituitary gland at the bottom.
Huh.
This one, this region. Can you see?
Huh.
Okay. Your pituitary gland has two lobes, one in the front and one in the back. Okay. The one in the back is called posterior and another in the front is called anterior.
Hmm.
So there are two pituitaries, posterior pituitary, anterior pituitary.
Yes, ma'am.
Till here is clear? Okay. So your hypothalamus, okay, will have certain cells called as a neurosecretory cells. What is
Okay.
it?
Neurosecretory cell.
Yes. These neurosecretory cells are basically going to control the posterior pituitary. And the anterior pituitary will all be controlled by the capillary bed here, the blood vessels. Okay. So we will anyway learn about it a little detail when we go to the next chapter. So for now, let me just collect everything that we learned. Okay. So we have the brain. The brain has three parts. What are the major three parts of the brain?
Fore, mid, hind.
Yes. Forebrain consists of what all parts?
Cerebrum, ischilion. What is that called?
Diencephalon.
What is that word called? I forgot.
Diencephalon.
Diencephalon. And then diencephalon, hypothalamus, subthalamus, this thing, all those four thalamus.
Okay.
And then one more is there.
Olfactory lobes.
Olfactory lobes.
Apart from that, you also have in the inner region something called as limbic system. What does a limbic system consist of?
Those two things.
Just a second, Akshay, I'll just answer this call. Hello. Akshay, can you hear me? Hello.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm sorry, I got a call from the hospital. Yeah. Where was I? Yes. So we were talking about the limbic system. What does a limbic system consist of?
This thing. What? What is that? Oh yeah, limbic system, hippocampus, and amygdala.
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 Okay. Then what does your hypothalamus do? What are the functions of your hypothalamus? Functions of hypothalamus.
Oh, hypothalamus, pituitary gland.
Okay. Apart from that?
This thing, relaxin.
Relaxin is released by placenta, daddy.
I meant that uterine contraction during fetal this thing.
That is okay, but the general function of your hypothalamus.
Oh, that coordination, balancing.
Coordination, balancing is the function of hypothalamus. Is that what I taught you?
No, wait. So it's on with hypothalamus.
Yes. What is the function of hypothalamus? I just told you a few minutes back.
Ma'am, wait, ma'am. It's there in my head. Don't show, ma'am. Wait, ma'am.
I'm not showing.
I remember you telling drinking.
Oh, drinking. Yes. Very good. Then.
Oh yeah, body temperature. It will regulate. Eating food when we'll feel hungry. When we'll feel thirsty. When when we are feeling hot, cold, sweating, shivering.
Okay. Okay. Good. What's the function of cerebrum?
Improvise, no, ma'am.
Very
cerebrum,
good.
This thing, memory.
Okay.
Memory, wait, cerebellum is coordination balancing. Cerebrum is this thing. Memory.
Okay, you're stuck at memory.
Movement.
After that,
Voluntary movement.
voluntary movements. Okay, very good.
Sensory. There is
Ah,
4 parts of memory: motor, sensory, all that. Yes.
okay. Okay, very good. Good. What is the part that connects both the hemispheres together?
Corpus callosum.
Okay. And what is the folds of the cortex called as?
Folds of the cortex are sulcus is downwards, upwards is granula.
Granula, gyrus.
Gyrus.
You seem to be out of concentration, I feel. I don't know.
Yeah, that's because
And
too much of brain today. I only don't have a brain. I'm studying so much about
you
brain.
don't have brain. How are you alive when you don't have brain?
No, ma'am, I sent snap of this thing as streaks, and someone's like, "What you are studying about brain?"
Oh,
Like, yeah.
very nice.
What to do?
That is what you're doing when I'm teaching, no?
No, ma'am. Ma'am,
Nice.
this snap I sent first before you started class. When you opened a brain PPT, I sent of your notes.
Oh, very nice.
Some smart people understood cerebrum means brain, cerebellum means.
If you don't understand that, no, you're not fit to be in 12th standard.
I mean, some commerce people too understood. So
Yeah, they will understand. These are things that you've already studied in 10th.
Oh, ma'am, you don't know my school. They're too dumb. They won't know anything.
Okay.
Like if you ask them basic question.
Like you were?
Ma'am, no, ma'am. I am too smart.
Let me see that. Let me see. Okay.
Watch Mandela movie on Netflix.
That is very important. Yes, with the board exam and NEET, that is very important.
Yesterday I watched. Too funny.
Are you really planning to crack NEET?
Ma'am, this is my study plan. You don't know. See, okay. Every day morning 6 to 9 chemistry. 5:30 I wake up, I take bath, everything. 6 o'clock I'll start studying. My tutor will come. 6 to 9, 1 hour, he will revise whichever chapter we're going to do. And then 2 hours he'll keep on quizzing me, like all board questions, all practicing, all that he'll make me write, all that for 2 hours. Then that day night, whichever we discussed and practiced all questions, he's giving test. So till April 7th, that is till tomorrow, I'm doing chemistry. I have only 1 more chapter left, which I'll finish today. Today morning I did, tonight I'll write test, chemistry is over. Full thorough revision. Now only I should do mock tests.
This is for board exam, no?
Board exam. So he is doing NEET also for 12th now. See, by tomorrow he'll finish off all NCERT, all questions, practicing everything for boards. After that, only my work revision is there. That's all. He already finished portion. Now he practiced NCERT questions also. He's given chapter-wise test also. So from now, every once a week, he'll give mock test with 45 marks NEET, like for this thing, 45 NEET questions.
Okay, cool.
He told he'll practice NEET questions for next 1 week because they're a little bit different. And then he'll give NEET mock test every week only in chemistry. Biology I'll do on tomorrow is my graduation. So tomorrow I'll go. Tomorrow I won't do anything because I have to go to school. Then Thursday, Friday, Saturday I'm doing full bio revision of 12th with diagrams, everything on my own. From Sunday, he told every Sunday my biology tutor will give like 90 questions of NEET and 3 hours of biology mock test. So biology done. Then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I'm doing math. In math, I know everything. I just have to revise some 2-3 things. After that, every week, one math mock test. Then from 17th to 26th, I'm doing physics 9 days because physics is so hard. So I'll do NEET physics and school physics, like NCERT for 12th. I'll do both. I'll write every day, one chapter, one test, 10 days over. Then 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 30, first, second, third, I'll do English. And then May 4th is board exam for English. Okay. And then 15 days board exam, 15 days gap for chemistry. Already I'll be done in those 15 days, each day 2 mock tests. Morning 1, afternoon class to revise, evening 1. Same for biology. After that, biology is there with 6 days gap.
Just you. I just hope that you remember things you do. Not forget.
I told this to my mom. My mom is like, "Vaile vada sudada."
Exactly, that is what.
I printed it and kept in my room. I stuck it to the wall.
That is also okay. You have to follow. That is where you're like. Okay, anyway. Last part of today's class is midbrain. Then hindbrain will do next class. Yeah, it's easy. Midbrain is actually like a butterfly. Okay, very easy it is. See, if you take the lateral, like the sagittal view of your midbrain, okay, so it will look like a butterfly like this. See here, this way. This is how it actually looks. Okay, so When you talk about midbrain, the major function of midbrain is to connect forebrain and hindbrain. Okay, so your midbrain is going to consist of like different regions. So you can see here how many folds are here. There is 1 fold, 2, 3, 4. Yes. Hello. So you have
Yes,
four like folds like structure, right? So those 4 folds together is called as corpora, quadra, gemina. What is it called? Corpora, quadra, gemina.
No.
Okay, so if I show you to you in the image, see here, this 4 lobe-like structures or swelling-like structures. Can you see here?
Man, that looks like some dead baby holding something.
Yeah. So there are basically 4. If you closely see, can you see?
Like honeybee bite.
Yeah. So that only I drew it and show it to you. Okay, like here, the same thing only. I just drew it like this. Here. Why am I not getting? Why am I not getting? So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So since there are 4 lobes or so 4 swelling, we call it as corpora, quadra, gemina. What is it?
Corpora.
Quadra, gemina.
Quadra. Gemina.
Gemina. Quadri or quadra is basically 4. Okay. Now, these lobes are there. No, they also, the lobes individually are called as colliculi. What are they called? Colliculi. What are they called?
Colliculi.
Yes, colliculi. Okay. The ones on the top are called as superior colliculi. These 2 on the top are called superior colliculi. What are they called?
Superior colliculi.
Yes. And the one that should be at the bottom should be ideally called what?
Inferior colliculi.
Exactly. Inferior colliculi. Okay.
Ma'am, the colliculi is what now?
The colliculi is basically the individual lobes.
Oh, see, the midbrain has that lobes called corpora,
quadra, gemina. All the 4 together is called as corpora, quadra, gemina.
Individually, they are called colliculi.
Colliculi. Out of that, you have superior colliculi, inferior colliculi, and 2 inferior colliculi and 2 superior colliculi. Did you understand this? This is the structure of midbrain. Okay. Now, the next question I'll ask you is your brain a solid structure or a hollow structure?
It's a solid structure.
No, it is a hollow structure.
My mom always told my brain is hollow.
Okay, everyone's brain is technically hollow. Okay, I'll tell you why.
That's what.
Yeah. So there is something called as ventricles in your brain.
Ventricles.
Yes, ventricles is like, what to say? Not that ventricle. That ventricle. So in your heart also, ventricle is basically a chamber, right? So same way, your brain also has certain like empty spaces or chambers that are there, and those are called as ventricles. And a fluid runs through it, which is called as cerebrospinal fluid. Okay.
Cerebrospinal fluid.
Yes. So there technically your brain has around 4 ventricles. Okay. So in that ventricle, there is a small canal-like structure that passes through the midbrain. And that canal is called as cerebral aqueduct. Okay. Now, instead of telling you this, I'll just show you the ventricles. It's better. You don't need to remember the ventricles, Akshay, but just the cerebral aqueduct alone you need to remember, okay? So basically, ventricles are nothing but cavities of the brain. Okay, so if someone asks, what a ventricle? Ventricles is cavity. So any structure that has a cavity can never be solid, right? It's a hollow structure. So here you go. I'll just show you this image. Second.
Ma'am, yeah, watch Mandela movie. You'll start tripping.
Yeah, I will watch that. Definitely, I'll watch.
There's one Malayalam movie, Georgie. It's called Georgie.
Okay. Now I'm very concerned about the ventricle right now. Okay. So yes. Can you see these two portions here? This one and this one. Okay. So those two are the first ventricles.
Ma'am, which one? Which one?
This one, this region and this region.
Ventricles are present in the midbrain.
Not in midbrain. Ventricle is present throughout your brain.
Throughout my brain.
Yes, throughout your brain there are ventricles. But
1 second, there is a honeybee. I'll just get mosquito bat. 1 second. Lala.
Hello.
Sorry, ಇದು 300 ಕೊಸುಗೆ ಎಲ್ಲಕ್ಕೆ kosu mosquito.
Done.
Yes ma'am, I killed it.
Very good. Okay, now listen. So as I said in the beginning, your brain is a structure which has cavities called as ventricles.
Ma'am, brain is
brain is a structure which has cavities in the inner called as ventricles. Okay, totally we have 4 ventricles. How many ventricles?
4 ventricles.
Okay, you don't need to remember the structure and all, just remember these names alone. Okay, so what happens is on the top you have the first and the second ventricle. Okay, this region will be your third ventricle. Can you see the image?
First top is first and second.
Yes, the middle one is the third one, and the bottom diamond shaped one, this is your fourth. This is fourth, this is third, this is first, and this is second. So totally how many ventricles?
4.
Yes. Now, can you see this thing that is joining the third and the fourth ventricle, this duct here? That is called as cerebral aqueduct. What is it called?
Cerebral aqueduct.
That is a duct which connects the third and the fourth ventricle, and it runs through the midbrain. Okay, and what will it contain? It will contain a fluid called as cerebrospinal fluid.
What ma'am?
That cerebral aqueduct, no, that canal, it will contain something called as cerebrospinal fluid. Okay, so till here is clear?
Ma'am, enough.
No, I'm almost done with this, so I'll just finish it.
This only is too much.
No, nothing too much. We'll revise also. Before you go, you will learn it and go. Okay, now it's done. It's almost done. That's it. So that is all about your midbrain. Now we come to hindbrain. Hindbrain, you have neurons.
You told hindbrain tomorrow.
It's over. It's almost over.
Ma'am, this is only too much to remember. Ma'am,
it's almost done.
I'll forget off.
There's just hardly like 2-3 slides more.
Ma'am, we'll revise whatever we did till now. That only will take for so much time.
That will not take so much. We hardly did anything today. What are you saying?
Forebrain, fully forebrain, midbrain.
Fully forebrain, what all we learned? We learned
in
about
midbrain. Now I forgot what is there only. Cerebellum, pons, medulla.
I'll tell you what is there. Forebrain consists of cerebrum, diencephalon, olfactory lobes. That's it. So diencephalon is basically your thalamus and hypothalamus.
That I know. Olfactory lobes, yes. And then?
Yes. And cerebrum is basically going to contain outside sulcus and gyrus. And towards the inner, you will have the limbic system.
And also, outside is white, gray matter. Inside is white matter.
Yes, that's it. That is your entire brain together. Okay. And the function of your cerebrum is basically coordination and voluntary
movement. Thirsty, movement, all that.
That is hypothalamus.
Oh, sorry. This thing is sensory, cerebrum.
Yes. Okay. Then limbic system is emotions.
Hmm.
Okay. Then we came to midbrain. Midbrain consists of 4 lobes called as corpora, quadra, gemina. And each lobe is called as
4 lobes. Each lobe is called colony.
colliculi.
Colliculi, primary, superior
And
and inferior.
inferior. Yes. And then our brain has 4 ventricles. The third and the fourth ventricle is connected by something called a cerebral aqueduct, which passes through the midbrain.
Wait. No. Midbrain.
Yeah.
Corpora, quadri, this thing, 4
Gemina.
bulges. Each bulge is called colliculi.
Very good.
Superior, inferior. Then the entire brain has inside dendrites. Ventricles. 2 on top, 1 in middle, 1 down, and then it has some cavity inside that cerebrum, something fluid.
Cerebral aqueduct.
Cerebral
aqueduct. The cavity. It connects the third and the fourth ventricle.
To the, and then it has cerebral aqueduct fluid.
Yes, it has cerebrospinal fluid.
Cerebrospinal fluid.
Yes, that's it.
And then that's it for today. So now I'll get to go take bath.
No, wait. What connects the 2 parts of the hemispheres together?
Corpus callosum.
Callosum. Yeah, that's it. Only hindbrain is there. It's only there. Okay, anyway. I'll teach you next class. There's nothing there much.
What, ma'am?
Like, hopefully by 3 more classes, we should be able to complete this chapter.
Yes, ma'am.
So I'm targeting to complete this week so that we can start with the planned chapters.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So yeah, just revise and come tomorrow. Tomorrow morning, or what time you're free tomorrow?
Ma'am, tomorrow morning only.
At what time?
You tell me, ma'am. 9 o'clock.
Same time?
Ma'am, because this time I'll be getting ready for my graduation. I have to go to school, it seems. We have to practice all that. Going on stage, marching, all that.
Okay. So, evening?
Ma'am, that's what. I'll go to school. Ma'am, see, tomorrow I have pre-board, okay? I bunked all my pre-boards because if I go for pre-boards, I won't be able to study only. Okay. So, tomorrow pre-board gets over at 12 o'clock. Okay. Some out of 20 people, only some 5 people are going tomorrow for last pre-board. So everyone else is going to school. We have to go to school. See, they told you have to bring that formal stuff along with the uniform, and after the pre-board, you have to change. Since we're not writing pre-board, we'll go to school at 12:30, like directly. 12:30 to 5 is that all dressing up, practice, all that. 5 it starts, then 5 to 9, dinner, photo shoot, all that thing is the speech. Okay. Starts only at 5, but we have to go at 12:30. I don't know, ma'am. Only India has that system of where you have to practice for graduation.
Okay, then we'll have, is it fine if we have like 9:30 to 10:30?
Morning?
Yeah.
9:30, that's what I told, 9:30, 10:30.
Okay, cool. Then I'll meet you tomorrow at 9:30.
Yes, ma'am. Everything you taught today, I'll tell.
Okay, cool.
Yes, oh, ma'am, watch Mandela.
Okay, I'll watch.
On Netflix. If it's too good, ma'am, you have to owe me, ma'am. It's too next step.
Yeah. Okay, bye.